Good morning. Day 2 on UBT K5's paint and assembly on the chassis. Not going to call it final assembly, but definitely assembly. Earlier in this video, Ron and John were over. We were painting the chassis, getting the rear end all buttoned up. But today, we're gonna work on getting the front end buttoned up. So we've got Michigan Metal Works control arms. We're gonna break out here in just a minute. Give you a little preview of those. Try to get them primed and painted today. And then start assembly on the front end. As you can tell, it is raining like crazy, or has been raining like crazy here in Georgia for the last 36 hours. Everything is soaking wet, but it slacked off this morning. Probably not the best conditions to paint in, but we're 1 week out from getting this thing up to Oakboro, North Carolina, and we got to get something moving. So we're gonna get these control arms hung over there, get them painted. As you can see, we've still got quite the mess back here from when we were tackling all this the other day, but I'm gonna be priming and probably painting these by myself this morning. Got to get my son to a ball game, and then Ron and John will be here later today. We're gonna get final assembly going on the front end of this chassis. You guys stay tuned. All right guys, so this is one of the heaviest boxes that's ever been delivered to my house, particularly since it's not even that big, but we got some good stuff in here, I believe. So let's see how all this is gonna shake out. I've already included a decal in there, Michigan Metal Works decal. Y'all know we like that stuff. As you can imagine, with something this heavy, the bottom of this box is toast. So let's see how all this shakes out. Hopefully everything is in good shape. Oh yeah. So it looks like we got a lot of hardware here. Bushings for the arms. That's what I'm gonna go with on that. Good thing is, we're gonna paint these first, then test fit them. Or we're gonna paint these first, I mean, and then put the bushings in. I know we should probably test fit them. This looks like ball joints. Well, here's one of them. And these are Michigan Metal Works budget arms, so they're not necessarily they're tubular. As you can tell, they're flat plate arms. But for this application, felt like this is exactly what we needed. The welds look amazing on these things. They're actually super substantial. But you can see the welds just look really, really nice. Looks like the ball joints will definitely be bolting in there. Here's the lowers. And what I would consider the real meat of the situation. Man, these look awesome. God, these things are heavy. So hopefully you can see that there in the camera. Really cool cross shaft. This one's already got the bushings and everything in place. Hardware, bag mounts here. Ball joint is gonna go in there. So you can see here, really, really cool welds. Great welds along the bottom, around the bases there. Not sure what that little relief cut looking deal is in there, but I like it. So really, really cool stuff. God, these things are heavy. Here's some upper bag plates. So those will go on the top of the cross member there and be bolted in so that the bag can mount top of the cross member here and then bottom of the mount there. So pretty trick little setups. These plates are cool, super hefty. So we'll go ahead and get those painted up. Got the upper control arms, bag plate. Got those hung up. We've got some of the shock mounts over here behind us on my little home paint booth setup. But like I said, not the best conditions to be painting in, but we're on a time crunch, so we're gonna get these things knocked out. And we got the sun coming out later today, so hopefully that's gonna help dry these things up a little faster. Before we get this all wrapped up, we got a little baseball to play, so you're gonna see me do this, see me get as much done as I can in the next 30 minutes, and then I'll be back later today. All right guys, so you can see I'm literally just trying to get the bushings and the hardware and the cross shaft taped off for paint. This is sort of the easy, you know, let's hurry up and get them painted kind of situation. It may bite me in the butt that I have to pull them back apart, which I'm sure I will, but right now I just need to get these things primed, get some paint on them, and go from there. All right guys, we're back on UBTK5 and the chassis. Well, let me just turn the camera around and show you. This is where we are thus far. We got basically all the rear set up, complete and done. I'm about to break apart these rotors, paint the spindles in behind there. And I got something I want to show you over here in my little makeshift paint booth. But before we do that, here's the truck we showed y'all, the new UBT shop truck. Got those Ford caps off, got the trim rings off. Hadn't even cleaned up the wheels yet, but you can see that fender, you can see that rot down there in the rocker. But we're getting to a good place. At least got the period correct hubcaps on it. Got to get the hood going. But let me point your attention over here. Big thanks to Tejas Steelworks for getting us their cross member. So this is their trans cross member. Of course, it's already in primer. I'm still working to get it painted. Just sprayed it in primer a few minutes ago. Got it hung up and realized I probably hadn't even showed y'all this yet. So big thanks to Scotty Backus, Tejas Steelworks for getting this to us. This is the trans cross member. Obviously it's got the cutouts there for the exhaust to come through, and we got their motor mount set up as well. So both of these are exactly what we used on Pecos, so the trans cross member and these motor mounts. So basically you just use your stock stands, new bushings, and this mount here, basically this mounts to that bushing, and this plate mounts to the side of the motor. So it's fixed, not adjustable, but definitely puts your LS motor in a place that is good for stock accessories, even a stock fan, as we found out. So we're gonna get some paint on these here in a minute. Definitely get some paint on the spindles here in just a minute. John's on his way over. We're gonna start buttoning up the front end. I got all the suspension parts for it ready to go, except for the cross shafts on the upper tubular arms. So basically what that means is we're gonna install the bag plate that mounts right to the bottom of this part of the cross member so the bag can attach. That's where the upper control arms connect. Like I said, I'm still waiting on the upper cross shaft. That'll be here tomorrow. We got the lower control arms ready. So matter of fact, I'll go show you those real quick. Hang on. All right, so these are the lower control arms from Michigan Metal Works. So we went with Michigan Metal Works budget lower and upper control arms. So you can see we met up with Noah back at Pep Boys and got those ball joints pressed in. I could have done them here, but they have a good press, and so that was a easier thing to do since we're kind of on a time crunch, because we got to have this chassis back together in the next 2 days. So we're working on the front end right now. John showed up. He's over here getting some water poured up. Let's take a short trip. So you can see this little thing we got going here. Obviously this is the front cross member. Runs all the way across the vehicle there. So this is going to be, that right there is the upper bag plate. It's where the bag mounts. It looks like this. But you can see we got 4 holes around the outer edge. So it mounts up on the bottom of that cross member. We got this one already clamped down. So we're going to drill those 4 holes, mount the bag while we've got the lower control arm out of the way. Like I said, we won't be mounting the uppers tonight because we don't have the cross shaft in for it yet, but it's coming. So we're going to get these holes drilled for the upper bag mount, get the lower control arm on, get the bag in here, run some line, paint some more parts, and try to get this thing all sorted out. I don't know, like I said, 2 days away from getting this rolling chassis up to Oakboro, North Carolina for the C10 Fall Revival. Not sure if you're going to see this video before we go to the Fall Revival or if we're going to be after, because I may split this whole thing up into 2 parts, but we're getting there. We're going to knock it out in the next day or 2. So y'all hang tight. We're about to get these holes drilled on these upper bag plates. We'll see you in a minute. John's already got the 2 front holes drilled there. Just dropping in some hardware. So we're gonna move the clamps and get the back two drilled. We're on our way. If you ever wondered about how to get a rotor off a spindle so you can change and put on drop spindles, obviously you just remove this dust cap from right here, and then these have been freshly greased, but you remove the cotter pin that's stuck in there, and then take out this nut that I believe was extremely too tight. Even though the rotor still spun, just seemed really, really tight. So take this off. I was trying not to get grease all over myself, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And then you've got a little washer down in here, but you're ready to take your rotor off. See how easy that is? So there's your spindle. I'm gonna get it cleaned up, get it sprayed gray, which looks like it was already painted. I don't know how that sucker got so rusty, but we're gonna get it all sorted out, put it back on the K5. So these are DJM 3-inch drop spindles, I believe, and that right there, that's how you get your spindle, get your rotor off your spindle to get it painted up. John, as you can see, is down here working on, down there taking a nap like always, but he needed a little more light. And I just remembered that our good buddies over at Capri Tools sent us this awesome ultra thin 620 lumen LED work light. 10 millimeter, super thin, 620 lumens, cordless, rechargeable, hands-free magnetic base. So that's pretty trick. So let's get this thing opened up. Hopefully this thing's already got some charge on it. If not, this was all for naught.
That is cool.
Good Lord, can y'all see how bright that is? Ooh, that sucker's bright. One of my favorite things about it is this little swivel magnetic base. That's pretty trick. So yeah, here you go, John.
Oh yeah, I got to have me one of them.
So John's working on that last little hole there. You can see he's got the other two, at least on the front, and he's got the other one down the side too.
Isn't the deal the first user of the light gets to keep it?
Is that how it is? Well,
I like the sounds of it.
Big thanks to Capri Tools for this awesome LED light. So we got the dream team here now. TTR done showed up. What you doing, TTR?
Hanging out.
Just hanging out?
Like a hair in a biscuit.
Like a hair in a biscuit. It's like John jumped in there all ready to drill some holes. So we got this one all set up. I'm gonna see if I can show you the underside here. So you can see how that bracket is attached there. So we'll attach the upper part of the bag to that, run our airlines in there, call it done. We got the Tejas Steelworks cross member painted up. It is still drying, but that thing is turning out awesome. So we're doing the semi-gloss black all over everything. What's up, dude?
I was wondering when the late nights are going to start.
Here they are. Black spindles. Just getting all sorts of stuff painted in the, this is the UVT paint booth. It's my buddy Chris, he just showed up. Y'all know him from the 67 F100. He's got a little baby in there. She's cute. All right, so we're losing light pretty quickly, but we're taking the upper bag bracket off. I'm gonna bolt the bag. These are Slam Specialty SS7s. So that's what we're using on the front. Oh, hold on, TTR's got something to say.
And they're made in the USA.
Made in the USA. Show me that label on the bottom.
America.
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 Oh, and the M18 Milwaukee heated jacket. Okay, so we had to make a quick parts run because we actually had the wrong fitting for the top of the bag. I'm gonna blame that one on Mike Howe. How's it doing, garage? We needed a tapered fitting for the top of this bag. We needed some Teflon tape too, so that one seems to work a lot better.
Mucho better.
So we're gonna get this fitting on and then attach it to the plate and then install the plate, then install the lower control arm. That'll probably be it for tonight. because as you can tell, it's already dark outside.
Right, this is the driver's side?
Should be. Shock hole should be on the, see that little hole in the side?
Oh, it's at the back.
Yeah. All right, guys. So you can see we got the bag mounted to the upper bag plate. Here is the Michigan Metalworks control arm. That's the bottom of it. I got some paper stuck to it from paint just not drying good enough. We're gonna end up taking care of that after we'll
drag it off.
We'll drag it off. That's right. John, flipping things over. Let's look at them from the top. So, kind of dirty. Got handprints all over them right now because we've been handling them. But we're gonna mount that cross shaft back under to the cross member using, where's those U-bolts and
right there beside
bolts? Where are they? Oh yeah,
Over
John,
here.
will you hold one of those up? So basically we're just gonna use those, wrap them right around that cross shaft there. There's a little spot here on the cross member that they go through right there. So we're gonna get them bolted up right there. And then tomorrow, we will not bolt the bag to them yet because there's gonna be a lot of weight on the bottom. But tomorrow, when we get the cross shafts for the upper control arms in, we'll put the upper control arm in and then connect the two, hook the bag to the bottom control arm via that little hole right there, and get the spindle rotor assembly back on, bolt the wheels and tires up, put this thing on the ground. Y'all wish us luck. Stay tuned. What do you think about it, John? You irritated?
Nah,
You don't get irritated.
I get even.
Oh, is that what it's about?
That's it.
Look, they keep trying to take Philpot from me.
Ryan, we're gonna get him.
Philpot's just sitting here on the trailer.
You gotta go out of town for work at some point.
That's true. That is true. Sadly. All right, I'm gonna put this camera down and help John.
Remember, man, he did all that paint work. He did all that paint work. Okay, all right. So let me test fit this guy. No, he needs a little adjustment there too, John. Hold on.
Y'all can see kind of how that's gonna look right there. I had to run in and tell my little girl goodnight, but John and Ron got that lower control arm, the Michigan Metalworks lower control arm in. Like I said, we're not gonna hook the bag in. We're not gonna connect the bag to the lower control arm because it'd just be too much weight on the bottom of the bag. But that's some big win right there. So we're gonna get the other one on and probably call it a night until tomorrow. Hopefully those cross shafts come in pretty soon. You can see where we're gonna stop tonight. So, got the upper bag bracket in, bag, lower control arm. We've even gone ahead and got the airlines run to our little Schrader valve setup here that Mike hooked us up with. So that'll get us some air for the show. Got the same thing on the back, but coming together pretty well. Like I said, we'll get the cross shafts for the upper control arms tomorrow, hopefully. Get it all installed, put the spindle, rotor, wheel and tire on. We'll catch up with y'all tomorrow. So this is technically day 4, and we're back on it. And yeah, it's dark again. We had to go pick up the tow rig to pull the trailer up to Oakboro. So John is working on setting the ball joint in the upper control arm. So what that consists of is this ball joint here slides down into the top of the control arm like so. Got a couple of bolts here to hold it in. We're currently finding out they're not long enough, but John's making it work over here on his setup. So we finally got the shafts in, the upper control arm cross shafts. We had to grind a little at the top there, as you can see, top and bottom. So we got that all done, and we're gonna get those installed here in just a second. So John's working on trying to figure it out now. All right, y'all hang tight. All right, welcome back. This is probably day 5 on the UBT K5 chassis. John's here. We got a lot of work done last night. Let me show you what we were working with. This bad boy's got a front end on it. We got it down on all 4 Detroit steel wheels, Continental tires. Man, I'm not mad about this at all. We had some struggles. It's not exactly the way I put together the way I want it because, well, we need some shims. for the upper control arms. We got to trim some bushings, but you can see right there our setup. And no, I didn't paint the rotor, I ran out of time. That is Michigan Metal Works Budget Series upper and lower control arms. That's a Slam Specialties SS7 bag that we might need to tweak on, but it actually looks like it's probably alright the way it's sitting in there. DJM 3-inch drop spindle there, and Michigan Metal Works upper back plates. Still got to get some brackets for the sway bar. That's a factory sway bar that came on it, but all in all, we did most of this in the dark, John and I, so we're pretty proud of it. You can see those old rusty shims. We didn't get painted either on this side.
We're gonna get some new ones.
We're gonna get some new ones. Over here on this side, we actually just used some washers and stuff to space it out. Actually, it looks cleaner. Oh, and another thing we had to do was we had to, the cross shafts on these Michigan Metal Works upper control arms call for a K6184, I believe it is, cross shaft, and you can see there we had to grind some of the little humps right over the eyelet so they would fit through the end of the control arm there. We got that done. That was actually the least painful thing we did yesterday or last night, but really happy with the stance. I mean, it lays those control arm, it lays control arms flat out on the ground. Really happy with that. So this is the day we leave for Fall Revival. It's the morning of. We're leaving tonight. So we got one more thing that's in that box back there that we're gonna put in here. But man, I'm happy to see this thing on the ground. Y'all hang tight. We're gonna show you what's in that box. Cue the music.